guys, in today's video I wanted to make a video showing the books I read this month, so without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. So a little quick disclaimer, I'm a very slow reader. I don't read that many books yet, I am still very new to reading, and since I knew this video would be very short if I only included the books I actually read the month of August, I will actually be including a couple more. So first I'm just simply gonna rate the book and then I'm gonna give it a little review. I personally do a 6-star system where, you know, if a book is 6 stars, it's like really good. So my first book I read Atomic Habits, and this is a very easy 5-star book. I have a hard time putting this book because I really like a lot of points he talks about in the book, but the more I've learned with time, it's like, you know, habit doesn't really work for everybody and discipline doesn't work for every single human being. I think habits are a wonderful tool, and I definitely agree with a lot of things he talks about in the book. He just definitely talks about when you want to build a habit, you know, you don't have to do the most extreme, like let's say you want to get fit, you do not have to go to the gym 5 times a week, you can simply just show up every other day for 10 minutes. You don't even have to do exercise, you're just training your brain to become used to the habit, and then, you know, you just keep adding on to it, which is a wonderful tool and way to improve your discipline and do something really good for yourself. Does this work for everybody? Absolutely not, but I think this is a great strategy overall. The next book I read was The Love Hypothesis. I do not know how to say that. This, I have a hard time. I think right now it is a 6-star book, and you know, it's not like there's anything special about the book, you know. I'll have a summary of the book here on Goodreads. You know, it's not like anything special in the book. The story is pretty basic, but I just really related to the main character, Olive. First of all, my name is Olivia, and a lot of people call me Olive because that's actually where my name stands for. I think I just really related to Olive, and I think that that's a huge reason why I really like the book that much, and that's why it's pretty much a 6-star read. That might change in the future, but who knows. The third book I read was Coraline. This is only a 3-star rating for me, which, if you know me, I am a huge Coraline fan. I love the movie. It's actually my favorite movie of all time if I really had to pick a favorite movie. I don't know why I love this movie so much, but the book did not live up to my standards. You know, I think the reasoning for this is because it is a children's book at the end of the day, and I definitely really like getting a bit more story, but I just felt like I was just, you know, just watching the movie but longer. If you've seen the movie is basically about a girl named Coraline. They move into this flat and she finds this hidden door, and behind this door is like this entire world that's exactly like her own, but it's just way more brighter, and it just seems a little bit too good to be true. You know, there is a really good quote from it, like you shouldn't wish for everything. I will always recommend the movie. I love watching the movie. It's a huge comfort movie to me. But the book was alright. Again, if you've watched the movie, there's a character named Wybie. He's not in the book, and you know, it actually makes a lot more sense for the book because, you know, the challenges she has to deal with in the movie, it makes a lot more sense for her to, you know, not have any help. Like, she has help from the cat, but that is really it. So again, I personally wouldn't recommend this book if you already watched the movie. The movie is a clear 10 out of 10. I will always watch that movie over and over again. The next book I read quite a while ago. I read the book Sleep by Nick Littlehouse. This is a 3-star book for me personally. I think it was a good read. It definitely taught me a couple more things about sleep, and I really liked how he talked a lot about circadian rhythm, like, you know, like the natural 24-hour clock and what would be most suitable for us to fall asleep easier. He definitely talks about things I do not think is very suitable for your everyday person, because, you know, he works with you know, cyclists who needs, like, their sleep is very important to their career, their jobs. So he talks about bringing sleeping equipment to hotels, and I absolutely agree with this. This is a wonderful idea if you are an athlete. If you're not, that is so fucking useless to you. You do not need to do that. I cannot imagine one scenario you would actually have to do that. I mean, if you want to, you can bring your own pillow to hotels, but, you know, I think that's like the most you should be doing. And he also mentions in the book that if you should be having like the perfect sleeping room, you should not be having any abstract paintings. Your room should be white, very plain. I don't agree with this. I can see like the minimal effect of this because, you know, like if you have very gory paintings, you know, that might, you know, activate like brain stuff in your brain. Yes, that is true and all, but if I had to sleep in a basic white room, absolutely not. That's not gonna happen. You know, having a clean space, you know, I'm always a huge advocate for having a very clean and neat space to go to bed in. Am I good at doing that? Absolutely not. But is it very helpful for my sleep, and do I usually sleep better when I do that? Yes, I also do. And a thing I also extremely extremely liked about this book was him talking about napping and how nap is actually very beneficial for you, because I talked in another video about we are naturally most tired around 2 to 3 a.m. That's when we need to sleep the most. That's when we should be in something called the REM stage, which is basically deep sleep. And a really funny thing, when you wake up in the morning, you have the most energy because you just slept, and something about 1 to 3 p.m. you start hitting this weird tiredness, like because it's been so long since your lowest need for sleep, so now your energy levels have just dropped, and this is like the perfect window to take a 30-minute nap. You do not have to sleep when you're doing this, you know, just laying down and getting comfortable for 30 minutes, that is all you need, and that is a wonderful way to keep you going throughout the day. Not everybody's gonna need this, and if you're someone that can fall asleep within 30 minutes, you should just set a timer. That's it. Or have a shorter nap, something like 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even shorter. It can just be 15 minutes, just something where your body is relaxed and you're just focusing on having your eyes closed and relaxing. So yeah, a 3 star still for me, maybe 3.5. I'm really bad at rating books because, you know, I like certain points, but then I don't like other points. If you're gonna read the book, you know, just skip everything of him talking about athletes because I don't think it's worth. My next book is It Ends With Us by Coraline. This is a 4.5 star review for me. I don't know how to feel about this book. You know, a lot of people said you were gonna cry reading this book. I did not cry reading this book. I do really like the way Coraline was talking about sensitive subjects, and I think she did a really amazing job in explaining some of these things. The story is good. You know, it's about this girl named Lily who moves to Boston, and then she meets this guy named Raoul, and you know, a bunch of other stuff. Like I'm really bad at explaining books without spoilers because I feel like everything is technically a little bit of a spoiler explaining a book. But you know, you probably know what this book is about. Like, this book just wasn't what I expected it to be. I was expecting it to be harsher on me, but it wasn't, and I don't know if that's because of my love to true crime. You know, I've heard way worse than this book. Maybe that's my issues. I don't actually read horror books, I only watch horror movies. I was a bit unsure if I wanted to include this, but The Hunger Games. I'm halfway through it, so I can't actually give it a full review. Right now, it's only like a 2 star for me. I am a huge Hunger Games fan. I love the Hunger Games books. I love any dystopian movies. So the movies are like a 10 out of 10. And people said the books was even better. And so far, I am just really disappointed. I don't feel like I've learned anything more about the characters. Maybe that's the issue. So I know I said that this book was only like a 2 star review, but now I've actually properly read the book. I'm still missing like 80 pages, but this is a 5 star book for me. If you haven't watched the movies, definitely read the books first, because else you're probably not gonna like it. But like, I would give it a 5 stars, but because of the fact that I've already like watched the movies, I've already put like perspective into my head, I just don't think I should read books if I've already watched the movies. I don't know what it is, I just can't do it. The next book I read was Love Boat Taipei. This is like a 3.5 stars. This was the first book I read on the Kindle, and I really only read it because I was a huge fan of Euphoria at the time. I was like, oh my god, let's look at a book similar to this, and I definitely agree, the book is very similar to Euphoria in some ways, and you know, it definitely has like the same thing with like teenagers and stuff. You know, it's about this girl that I do not remember the name of right now, who has very strict Chinese parents, and you know, I forgot where she lives, but they basically send her off to this very strict school in Taiwan, and you know, she realizes pretty quickly that, you know, like, it's not actually as strict as she thinks, because there's something called this love boat, and she meets these people, and it's very rebellious. I think it was a good read. I read Will Grayson. I was recommended that book. I read it such a long time ago, and it took me forever to get through, and I have no idea if that was just because I didn't really like it, or because I was reading a book instead of a Kindle. We all know how I feel about fonts. If I don't like the font, I don't want to read the book. But it is a cute story. I'll give it like 4 stars. I'm really bad at reading books. It's cute. It's about 2 guys named both Will Grayson, and you know, they meet each other, and or like they talk, and they're like, oh my god, I'm Will Grayson too. Like, oh my gosh. It's a cute little teenage book. I think I'm not the biggest fan of teen books anymore. I think I just want to read like young adult, since you know, I am young adult. So that's definitely my preference. Then the actual book I only read in August was Variety by Colin Hoover. Oh my gosh, this is a 5-star read. I think this book is wonderful. It's not wonderful, it's actually quite sad. It's like a thriller. I'll have the description of the book wherever the fuck. And when I read this book, you know, it's about this girl named Lowen who has to write a book for this author called Røde, who's like a very famous writer. And you know, she goes to their house, you know, because you know, she has like a bunch of notes to go through all of them. And she goes like through her stuff and all that kind of, and she finds like a lot of really weird stuff, and everything just keeps getting weirder and weirder. Really good book. It's not for the faint of heart. I actually think it's more disturbing than It Ends With Us for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because it's a thriller, because I didn't even know the genre of It Ends With Us. And just ended off, I wanted to give my little TBR. So my TBR for this month is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. And then I wanted to read The Mountains You by Brianna Wiest. Then my partner was like, oh, you should read Frankenstein, so I also bought Frankenstein. Then I wanted to read Legend by Marie Lu, just because like people say it's a very fast-paced book, and I love very fast-paced books. So I also love dystopian books. And then I wanted to read Love Boat Reunion. These aren't all the books I want to read, but you know, my realistic TBR for someone like me that's a very slow reader. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all guys next time. Bye!